Hi everybody, Russ from My Hammers 11. Hope you're all safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you're made aware anytime we put new content on. As always, we'd like to thank our channel sponsors, Untuckit. Check out the description below. Black Friday sales coming up and all that stuff. So make sure you give them some love. Today's guest, I mean, his name's James, but you might know him better as Desert Iron Discs. God dear. Very, very clever twist now, I must say. But how are you, James? How are you, man?
Yeah, no, very well, thanks. Yeah, glad to be here. Just getting through this second lockdown that we find ourselves in now. It's been a bit of a crazy year for everyone, but yeah, no, all good other than that.
Good. Yeah, I know it is a bit weird, isn't it? It is a bit strange. I was just saying to you before we started recording that it's weird. I think because I might be desensitized to it now. Do you know what I mean? In terms of the whole lockdown, it just seems like the norm now. Do you know what I mean? That we can't do anything on a Saturday night or whatever. But it's a bit horrible when you think of that being like the normal. But it is what it is at the moment. But who knows? The vaccine. Who knows?
I know. I hate the cliche of like the new normal, but it really is like you just can't really remember what life was like before.
No.
Yeah.
Even like going to football, isn't it? It's even like going to football. Yeah. It's like that's weird for some people. You know, it's weird for me. You know, when fans are going to start coming back to the games, it's like, you know, I can't get home in 20 minutes. You know, it's going to take me a little bit longer, and stuff like that. You know, it's going to be just weird. And it's like when is that going to happen? When is that new norm going to happen? When is, you know, is it going to be? You know, as I said, this Pfizer vaccine, and there's loads of others, and we'll see what happens, innit? You know,
isn't it? Yeah.
No one knows, do they? That's the trouble. No one knows, and it's like everyone's just feeling their way through. But it surprises me how well I think some people have adapted to it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, as I said, I mean, I've said it before. My mother-in-law, you know, my daughter, 8-year-old daughter, taught her how to do FaceTime and WhatsApp and things like that, and they've had to embrace technology to communicate with each other, isn't it? It's like it's
the only way now. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Those that were sort of
they like to think they're into their tech, but yeah, it's been a lot of crash coursing like across Zoom and things like that, and it's just they've finally got a grasp of it now, I think. But
yeah, exactly. Well, I suppose there was a technophage for so many years that they've had to almost force their arm into becoming, you know, adopting it just to survive. Really, I mean, I spoke to a guy the other day. Could you imagine if this was 20 years ago and there was like no internet, there was no Netflix?
We did, literally.
I have no idea.
Cool.
No idea.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, during the summer lockdown, so to speak, wouldn't be too bad. It's a nice day, you go out, walk to the park, but now it's like dark by 3 o'clock, and it's just horrible. Oh,
yeah,
it's horrible at the moment, isn't it? It's just good. It was easy when it was like 30 odd degrees, and you don't have to go on the train to London, and you could.
Yeah, this is the real test now. Yeah, we're all in it together anyway.
We are. But obviously, you know, West Ham are keeping us occupied, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely. In a good way, actually.
A great way. Exactly.
I mean, it's a strange feeling, but actually looking forward to watching West Ham play is a great thing at the moment. I couldn't imagine myself saying that about 12 months ago, but yeah, this season especially so far, it's been great.
It's weird, isn't it? It's just weird. It's just like, you know, in essence, there's obviously one or two different players, but it's the same team, sort of, isn't it? And complete. I mean, you know, the sort of re-emergence of Aaron Cresswell. You know, they said the match of the day. You know, England call-up potential.
Yeah, for the call-up, I love that. Yeah, because he had a couple of caps, didn't he, a few years back? But yeah, there is still a bit of a gap there, I think, with left back. I mean, England have got about 28 right backs, but left back seems to be. I mean, Chilwell's probably going to hold it for the time being, but if there's an injury there, you never know.
Exactly.
Well, today, hasn't he? So.
And if they go to a three at the back, which sometimes Gareth Southgate does do, then you can't say. You know,
Walker on the other side, hasn't he? So yeah, it'll be good to see. Like, I mean, it's a weird one with Cresswell. Like, exclusive, he's not in my team, but he nearly was. Yeah, he gets a lot of stick, I think, from West Ham fans, especially like the last 18 months or so. Yeah. But yeah, this sort of change in position that Moyes did with him in his first spell, it's proven to be really good for him. It's probably going to buy him another at least 2 seasons, at least at the top, I think, if he can do that after that.
Definitely. I mean, he does it. I mean, Moyes has this knack of just reinventing players. He did it with Arnie, didn't he? And he's done it with Antonio and Masuaku. I mean, God. Could you imagine? Like, I remember the last international break when there was talk of him coming back early injured, and it was like we were devastated. It's like if that was 6 months ago, 9 months ago, we wouldn't have given a shit if he's got an injury. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's crazy, absolutely crazy. But we'll see what happens. I mean, we've got 2 weeks off. 2 weeks off and worrying about West Ham, and then we got the Pigs, haven't we? Then we've got Sheffield United. So yes, it's going to be a toughie. It's going to be a tough one, I think. Honestly,
one yesterday, so it's all set up for something.
Yeah, exactly. But it was nice on Saturday to actually win a game against a team we should win against. You know what I mean? It's like, again, that's just not a West Ham thing to do. Win against the team you should win against. But it wasn't pretty, but we got it done.
That ending, seriously, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like, unbelievable. Like we should have been 3-0 up in like the first 10 minutes, really, and then after that, pretty poor. But unbelievable. Thank you, Ademola Lookman, basically.
It's just mental, isn't it?
I do feel sorry for him, I must say. Like, I mean, Seven, right, really, to try and do something like that in the last minute. But I mean, he's a young lad, isn't he? And he's not had the greatest career so far. Sort of moved around clubs, and it's a bit of a West Ham legend now.
He'll probably moved on again soon. Come January, But and it just reminds me. I was interviewing an ex-player today who was around sort of the 80s, and obviously we talked about Ray Stewart and we talked about Julian Dix and the penalties, and you don't get anyone who just twats it now. Do you know what I mean? It's like everyone tries to be too clever. There's something being said, but whenever Julian put the ball down or Ray Stewart, you knew it was going to go in, or if not, the goalkeeper would have had to sort of get in the way of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Lookman, oh man, it's especially that last kick of the game. You would have just twatted. You should have just like smacked it in it, and it would have gone in. Or if not, Fabianski would have had to pull out an absolute worldie. But we got us out of jail. It was manic because I was like, it's all lined up ready. It's a draw, 0-0. Okay, so I've got all my Foo Fighters ready to play. Everyone takes a piss at me, but I've got my Foo Fighters ready, and then okay, I put bubbles on, bubbles and twist and shout. Oh, it's a penalty. I'll get back to Foo Fight. Oh no, it's no. It's mental. But yes, it was just an enjoyment.
Massive win.
Anyway. It was a big win.
The results we've had in the last 6 weeks or so, they've all, like, obviously Leicester win, Wolves win, and even Spurs, which was just unbelievable. But if we hadn't won on Saturday, I think all of that hard work just goes down the drain, doesn't it? Like, I remember at the start of the season, like, people saying we're not going to get a point until this Fulham game.
Yeah,
having that 8-point buffer ahead of that it was great to have, but it was typical West Ham really making it difficult. But fair play to Fulham. I mean, I hope Parker lasts the job. I just can't see them sticking around with him by January. Once the window comes around again, they'll panic, and you never know. Big Sam might be back again.
It could be that. But it is very much. I mean, it's all about who owns the club, isn't it? And obviously, the Khans own the club. And traditionally, American football does flip their coaches quite often. When it looks like their season's over, they flip the coach, don't they? And so, it's a shame because I just think Parker is great for. And someone made a good point the other day. I'm impressed. I mean, I love Scott Parker, and the man was so well turned out. He looked he looked proper. He definitely put on his best suit that day. You know what I mean? Just that West Ham. But he looked like, exactly. He looked like sort of Gareth Southgate that had been put in the wash. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you could, because he looked like, and Gareth Southgate, But that was a good man. No, a big fan of him. But I don't think he'll be around. I mean, I think Fulham are doomed. I'll be honest. I think Fulham doomed. I also think Sheffield United are doomed, and I think West Brom are as well.
Yeah, Slav could be on his way as well. It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, it's such a strange season. I think there was 6 points or something between 14th and top. Whoever fancies it, really, it's going to be another sort of 15, 16 season, isn't it? Just
hopefully.
Yeah.
And I think also, it is, and I'm going to do the maths when I've got plenty of spare time with Meander in the weekend anyway. So I'm going to do the maths, but I've got a feeling it's definitely, you look at the teams that are struggling at the moment, and it's the Fulhams, it is Sheffield United, Burnley is struggling a bit, West Brom, all in very tight grounds. Do you know what I mean? All in, very, very tight grounds where the crowd would give them that 12-man type thing. The teams that are doing well, obviously we're doing all right at the moment, better than we thought we'd do. Some of the other bigger grounds, it's less about the team, the fans giving you the extra boost. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I think. Sheffield United has fallen off the face of the earth since restart, really.
I still think they'll turn it around. I think I really rate Wild as a manager, so I think they can probably do it. But I totally agree. Fulham, West Brom. I feel like they accidentally got promoted, didn't they? They didn't really plan for it. They're just hoping on those payments, but the parachute payments. But it could. I mean, hopefully we're looking up anyway. But looks like we may well. Don't want to curse it, touch wood, but won't be suffering with a relegation battle in the couple.
No, exactly, and hopefully, we've got a fair few points up by after Christmas, by January, and then it gives you the opportunity to look to the cup, look to the FA Cup, isn't it? Because the Carabao Cup is only going to sort of favour the bigger teams because they don't go in it until later on.
Trophy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so they don't go into it until later on, and they've got a big enough squad to cope with it. And obviously, we don't necessarily want to put our best team out because it's the beginning of September. The season's just started. By January, you'll know if you're in a relegation battle or not, bar a complete fuck up, basically, in it. So, if we've got 20 points or so by January, I think we should have it. But to be honest, I say every year we should have a go in the cup. But it would be nice, wouldn't it? It would be nice.
I think this is the chance, isn't it? The amount of names that they're squeezing in now, like you're seeing it with all these muscular injuries players are getting. Like if we manage to keep sort of that sort of 18 fit, then why not? Like
definitely,
the Champions League's been squished in, so the top 6, the top 4 are getting dragged in every way possible. International, so, why not?
Yeah, why not? Although it'd be typical of West Ham, we'd get to a cup final, or first cup final since 2006, and there'd be no bloody fans there. But that's just the West Ham way, isn't it? That's just West Ham through and through. But no, it's and when you're watching the games, James, obviously on the telly, do you watch with the crowd noise on or the crowd noise off?
It's funny you say that. I think since Project Restart in June, it was always with the sound on, with the brake noise pumped in, and it was okay. Obviously, like there's teething issues, people pressing the wrong button, literally. I did get used to it, but the other day, I can't remember which game it was now. I think it was the City Liverpool game. Yeah. And I got into half time, and I realised I'd been watching just with Tyler and Neville commentating without any crowd noise. I mean, people make jokes about the empty head and whatnot. There's not really an atmosphere there anyway, but it was fine with that. I think with West Ham games, I prefer having that sort of crowd noise there, just to sort of just have anything, I know what you mean.
I know what you mean. It's weird, isn't it? I just find that the whole thing. I mean, and what doesn't make sense? What really annoys me? This is gonna, because I've done right for myself. So when I put it on Ultra HD, they don't have the crowd noise as an option. So if you want to Ultra HD, it's just the box, with no crowd noise.
Oh.
There you go. It's how the other half live, James, isn't it? It's how the other half live. Ultra HD. God, I'm Sky's number one best. I'm Sky's number one customer, I think. But even when I'm at the game, even when I'm at the ground, I have to put some noise on because it's so quiet there. I jump on a, I don't know, Hammers Chat or Irons United or wherever the feed is, wherever the live feed is, and I'll just take the piss a bit because they're on a massive delay. So like for example, like on Saturday, I jumped on with Charlie and Tom at Hammers Chat, and when the goal came in, obviously, then they got to wait 2 minutes for the. I said goal. I don't say who it is because I just like them going, there's been a goal, but for who? Oh, bless them. Oh dear. Anyway, right. So James, first question. He says, 15 and a half minutes in. He's why are you a West Ham fan, James? What's your story?
So I didn't choose to be. I was very much born into a West Ham family. So my dad was he's from Romford, so his family as well grew up as West Ham fans. So it was very much this is it basically when I was born. Probably wouldn't have chosen it if I had the choice down the line. But I mean, I absolutely love being a West Ham fan for the 29 years now so far. And that was it. Just literally born into it. So like even now, like I've my now fiance actually, she's got a West Ham supporting family as well, just by coincidence. So I've really left it in the family. So
same with me.
That's it really. Just born into it.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. And I'm exactly the same. Yeah, fortunately my wife's side were West Ham fans as well. So there was no disagreement with the wedding. It's like
Yeah. Exactly.
I did say I said, look, I just want one thing. You can pick what you want for the wedding. I just want one thing. I just want to I basically want to decide the colour scheme for the wedding. And she went, okay, what colour do you want then? Two bit teeth.
Take a guess.
Is it claret and blue, Russ? I was like, what a good idea! What a good idea! What a good idea! But it became more claret and cream, to be honest. The blue had somewhat got left out of it. It was
very good. I don't know if I'll be able to convince my girlfriend to do that, but
well, there we go. No, it was all claret and blue. All the chairs were claret and blue. We had I mean, my sort of groom's car was a baby blue camper van with claret ribbons down the side, and we turned up and we didn't do favours. We did the Bobby Moore Foundation pin. It was classy. It was classy. It wasn't like it wasn't like ripped like those stupid hats or anything like that. It was classy, claret and blue, James. Yes, it was fun. It was good. We all, I mean, our sort of first dance, not first dance, but our welcome onto the dance floor song was the Dean Martin version of "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles." So, bit of class, bit of class. Not the 1975 FA Cup version. I know. Yeah, we wouldn't have survived the rest of the night, but it's almost 10 years. It's almost 10 years. Bloody hell. God, dear. She's done well. So that was, and my daughter's a West Ham fan now, and obviously West Ham still. It just gets into you, doesn't it? It just gets into your clothes. Like sometimes, like I don't know, like a dog smell, or it just gets into things. You don't smell it, but you get immune to it. It's like West Ham with me now, without realising. It's like, oh yeah, I can't do that. I've got West Ham. Yeah. Or you say, you got when you could actually go to football, you'd look at your, a work meeting would come in at 5 o'clock, and you've got a 7:45 kickoff. So you're thinking, can we move it to next day? Oh dear. Do you remember your first game, James? Remember your first West Ham game?
I was having to think about this before. I was sort of digging through some old programmes, and I'd say the first one I can sort of remember vividly would be, it was in 1998. And it was West Ham against Chelsea at Upton Park, and it's weird really because I can remember sort of first steps up through Upton Park, walking from the station, all that jazz. But the thing I remember about the game the most, it was, do you remember the striker for Chelsea, Castellani?
Yeah, when he did his leg.
So that was his last ever game, and that's the first game that I can remember. I think it was 1-1. I think Neil Ruddock, I think, opened the scoring for West Ham in like the first 5 minutes or so. So I was like, oh, this is pretty good. This is all right. But yeah, I think we drew it in the end. But yeah, that's my first memory that I could draw back on.
And I remember that game vividly because I was sitting. My season ticket was the Centenary upper front row, bang in the middle. So it was really good seats, and you could hear the scream. So it might have been Rio went in for the challenge, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Kent Hammers will tell me if I'm wrong. Yeah, and you could hear the scream, and then I don't even remember on the big screens if anyone was like injured, we get Super Sponge come on. So this little cartoon character would go, "Oh no, someone's injured. This looks like a job for Super Sponge," and then the sponge would turn into like a superhero. That was never used after that game.
No,
that was the last time it was used. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
the poor kid. Poor kid's crying. His career's over, and we got like a cartoon sponge coming over. You know, it's just. Well, they used to have the. I remember that they used to have like a clown. Like if a guy would miss like an open goal or misses a penalty, this clown would appear on the screen like jiggling.
Really?
Yeah, we got away with so much now. We can't do nothing like that now.
Yeah, probably get a good deduction if you did something like that now.
Yeah, although we should. You know, why not? You know, it's a bit of fun. You know what I mean? It's like it was funny, although in hindsight, you know, a player just ended his career, and we've got a cartoon sponge. But it was I just remember that it was really funny. But no, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that game vividly. I can remember that. Remember the scream. His scream. When he broke his leg. It was horrible. And and Razor. I think Razor's got that picture of him against Chelsea when he scored in his sort of little study. I'm pretty sure he showed it to me when we had him on. But top man. Okay, let me just write that down. West Ham, Chelsea. Good to know. Right, let's go into 11 then, Jay Driver. Let's go into 11. As I said, the only rule is you have to be alive to have seen them play. You can pick whoever you want, whatever criteria you want. It's totally up to you. We've had. I'm a bit out of date. I've got to update a few, but we've had over 250 different players. I think have turned up, so it's quite an amazing amount considering. Right, so for the Desert Iron Discs, I keep saying that. It's such a good name. The Twitter handle. I have to keep the Desert Iron. Oh God, I can't put my teeth back in. Desert Iron Discs 11. Who's in goal for the Jamie 11?
Yeah, so criteria was obviously being sort of within my lifetime, seeing them play, and also just gone for a rigid 4-4-2. So yeah, to kick things off in goal, deliberated over two, but I went with Rob Green in the end. I've watched quite a few of these, and I mean, it's a very consistent one, isn't it? Like he was such a good keeper. 6 seasons or 7 seasons,
something like that, a long time.
And yeah, I mean, he's doing quite well in the media now as well. Like he just comes across as such a good guy off it, but you could always tell that about him. Like he's always with his teammates. Like there was always that sort of camaraderie that perhaps you miss, like especially with keepers, because keepers can usually be quite bizarre characters. But he was pretty normal from that perspective. But just a brilliant keeper, and it was such a shame what happened to him at the World Cup in 2010 because he'd earned that. Like some players, they walk into the England team, especially back then, like the golden generation, whatever. But he'd really earned that spot, and what happened against the US happened. But it was great after that. I think he was at West Ham 2 more years after that, and he's still. Despite all the abuse he's get every week, he still, he was excellent. He was up there with like the top keepers in the league. Like there was, like, other than the top 4, he'd probably be the best, in my opinion. I always remember that performance at the Emirates against Arsenal. That was just unbelievable. Yeah, first win.
That's the one everyone picks. Yeah, it's the one everyone picks, and that's the one. And everyone always mentions that game, and I always remember the story that Jimmy Walker told me was about just how much. I mean, I think Jimmy's he's goalkeeper coach for Ipswich Town now, and anyone who's new brings on as a new kid or whatever, he makes them basically watch Robert Green because he's like the ultimate goalkeeper professional. Apparently, that's what Jimmy said, and the Friday before the Emirates game, Jimmy and Roy Carroll had done their session. Remember Roy Carroll? He was a good keeper.
Yeah.
They'd done their session, and then they'd had their lunch. They'd had showered. They're just about to go, and Greeno and Ludo were still out on the training field doing one-on-ones for that couple of hours after the game, after the training had done. And on Saturday, that Arsenal game, one-on-ones. I think it's about 15 or so. He won. Just shows you, just like total dedication. Not, and Jimmy's like he wasn't technically the best keeper. He said Roy Carroll was much better keeper than him, but he had that work ethic as well, and sort of he was a good keeper and he worked hard. And and he was a bit different. He weren't like a normal keeper. He read the Financial Times and stuff like that. Obviously,
I'm actually saying that a bit older than me, but I can't remember what year it was now, but I think it was like my year 10 or year 11 English teacher. She obviously cottoned on that I was a West Ham fan, and she told me that she taught him actually when she was first starting out. She had back in, I can't remember which year it was now, but she taught him English, and she said to him then, because I think at the time as a player, he was doing write-ups for the Times and whatnot, and doing a few columns, and she said she's not surprised at all, because if he wasn't going to be a footballer, he was going to be a journalist or a writer or whatever. Yeah.
Brilliant. And that's why I love doing these interviews, because there's always these little anecdotes which just add to the player, innit? And as you said, like his English teacher and stuff. That's brilliant. Right, okay, we're playing 4-4-2. Let's go left back then. We're not having Cresswell, as we know.
No.
Spoiler. Yeah, so if it's not Cresswell, then it's got to be Razvan Rats. Am I right?
No, not this badly. No, I've gone old school. I've gone for Sebastian Schemmel at left back. I think, he was only a few seasons, but getting Hammer of the Year at that time, especially for a left back. I know Cresswell's done that as well, but sort of nowhere, to be honest. And I was relatively young then, so I just, it's rare for like a left back to stick out to a kid, basically, and I just loved the way he played. It was just full on. Like there was no sort of holding back for a player. Like if you look back at his career now, like he came out of nowhere. It wasn't as if he'd sort of been at top in France or anything. He was just sort of picked out of Ligue 1 and came over, and just brilliant player.
Yeah, you're right. He was very much like the modern day fullback now. Do you know what I mean? Like bombing forward, and he won Hammer of the Year in his first season, as you said. Then cut his hair and was shit, and but he clearly, I mean, he's famously got a bar in Luxembourg called Upton Park.
Oh really?
There we go, and that's where I want to go. That's where I want to go when we can, because I'm trying to get him on the show. But I think I might just turn up at his bar when we can all start travelling again, and just with a camera and a microphone and do it there. So, top. Yeah, but that's like fair play, but you're right. He was just so. Again, like you look at who would have come before and it's like he was the first one of those sort of real modern fullbacks in the game, and it just came out of nowhere, wasn't he? I think he played for Metz or something like that in Tota beforehand. I don't know, I can't remember. I'm rubbish at things like that.
You're right.
Something like that, but no, it's great. And I love players who do that. They just come out of nowhere and they're just absolutely mustard. Do you know what I mean? There's no googling on YouTube looking at all his greatest hits. He just turns up and he's just brilliant. A bit like Souček, isn't he?
I was about to say, and Soufal, I mean, they're both
exactly
cult heroes already, aren't they? But
absolutely mental, isn't it? Right. Okay. That's Schemmel. Let's go the other side. Let's go on the right side, on the right back position then.
Yeah, so they would have played together. Thomas Repka, right?
Thomas Repka.
It's again a bit of a loose cannon. He got sent off like a few times in his first few games, wasn't it? Like twice in first three or something silly like that. So even that, like that sort of start in this day and age, you'd write him off. But I mean, he managed to have definitely at least 2 or 3 really good seasons, and you know that every team, like whether you're Man United or Liverpool or whoever, like if their left winger is not going to be wanting to go near him at any stage of the game. So yeah, he was a bit of a hero at that time. Yeah, just no nonsense and brilliant.
Yeah, no, he's top bloke. And he said then he sort of left and retired, and then he obviously was in prison for a while. And his life afterwards became more of a soap opera than when he was actually playing. Although he's quite funny on Instagram, although I can't understand any word, anything he says. He's all in Czech. Yeah, he's on Instagram. Yeah, I'm trying to get him on the show, but he's adamant that he doesn't speak very good English. I'm like, oh, Tom, no one gives a shit. Do you know what I mean? You can just, but I'd be quite scared, I think, to interview him. Do you know what I mean? Even me, I'd feel a bit intimidated. Even by doing it in a camera and he's in the Czech Republic, I'd still feel really imitate. I just think, you know what I mean? He's a scary looking man. I think and some of the stories people have mentioned about him when they've met him, he's scary even to fans and stuff. But no, top man. Right, okay, but Thomas Repka in. Centre halves then, James. First centre half.
Yeah, so for the first one, I'll go with Winston Reid. Any player that's scored the winner against Millwall and also scored the last goal at Upton Park probably has to go in. Not only that, but he was an excellent player. It's a shame. He's still technically our player, but the first 5 or 6 years he was, other than the injuries, he was exceptional. International, of course, with New Zealand, and just absolute class of player.
Yeah,
really, really strong.
Yeah, and he's doing well at the moment at Sporting Kansas. So who knows, man? Who knows?
Yeah, it was a shame, but probably unlikely he'll play for us again, to be honest. But just the way you would have liked to have seen him got a bit of a send off because again, it's sort of flown by. But it's 10 years at the club, it's not often get that sort of stuff anymore. So it was. I can't remember how much we signed him for, but it wasn't a big fee, was it?
It wasn't a big fee.
Him and he was. Again, similar to Repka, he had a few seasons where he was just sort of untouchable, and the winner against you can't beat that, really, can you?
No, exactly. And I remember him signing, and it was like he was just off the back of the World Cup, wasn't it? It might have been before the World Cup, and we signed this World Cup defender. We're like, oh my god, here we go, big time! He's a New Zealand defender from Mishlak, this lad from Denmark. I was like, it wasn't really Nesta, who I thought it was going to be, or Cannavaro. No, it's Winston Reid. But you're right, he's, it's a shame. But again, similarly, if he wasn't injured, he probably wouldn't be at the club anymore. Do you know what I mean? Because he'd be playing probably a lot higher up than Arsenal and Liverpool were after him, weren't it, at the time when we got promoted? But he's a top guy. Right, okay, Winnie Reid's in. Who's he going to partner then in that central back division?
Yeah, I did have James Collins in, but I just changed it just before we started. So James Collins, absolute hero. Ginge, you can't fault the guy. But I couldn't leave out Rio Ferdinand, just only because as we go down the team, there's not many of sort of that academy that I've included, which on the day is what they've gone on to. But I think just Rio's absolute Rolls Royce, even when he was 18, you just knew that he was going to, perhaps not know that he was going to go on to be one of the best defenders in the world and win multiple leagues and whatever. But just as a 18-year-old, he commanded everything, didn't he? He just demanded respect as soon as he played.
Yeah, no, he did. He was just a phenomenal player, and he went on to have an absolutely fantastic career. And there's not even much more you can say about Rio, really. He was just an absolute class man.
Even in that early age, looking back at it now, he could have easily played centre midfield. He was that good on the ball. That he had everything. Pace as well that he had. It was just huge for us to have that. And I think with a couple of the other academy players that I won't include, but he still speaks about the club as if he was from West Ham. Whereas
definitely,
the others, not naming any names.
No, yeah, but no, definitely. And obviously, him and Anton, they were there from, we've had Anton on before, and he said, we were there from age of 12, 13 onwards. You know what I mean? So their sort of formative years was at West Ham, and so I just think with Rio, and I agree what you mean. He's just like he still seems like a West Ham boy to me. Do you know what I mean? It's like he just seems like where Frank doesn't seem like a West Ham. He's a Chelsea boy, and even Carrick. I don't, but something about Rio, I don't know what it is, but no, absolute class man. And it's his birthday the other day. He was 42. There we go. Point of information. Right. Okay. Let's go into midfield then, James. Let's go left wing or left midfield. Who are we going to have?
Yeah. So I think he's probably in every team. Maybe controversial, but not for me, is Dimitri Payet, left midfield. Had to be. I mean, could probably write a book on that season. Just him alone. He was just absolutely incredible. Like, probably my favourite player, probably is my favourite West Ham player in my lifetime anyway. It's just the impact that he had in that team. I mean, people always sort of admit, but we did have one of the best players in the world for a year. But I think easily, and what he did at the Euros and whatnot, it was really just great to see. But that one season, it just fit perfectly, didn't it, with the narrative of like the last season at Upton Park and just having that player, and obviously the team around him were great as well. But as soon as you think about that season, it's him, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's him, and he. You're totally right. It wouldn't have been the same without him being in that. And I think for that reason alone, he'll be in mostly everyone's team, because he has been, and he was only here for like a season and a half really, but we praise a lot of people who have been here a lot less. You know what I mean? And it's just he was the best player technically I've ever seen. I probably will ever see at West Ham, unfortunately. Who knows? You never know. Maybe Said Benrahma will be our new. But that's the type of player that's the type of player who would end up being like a Ballon d'Or, because it's always the flashy ones. It's not necessarily the Declan Rices of this world who will be Ballon d'Or nominees. You know what I mean? It's awful to say that, but it's true. And we'll see. But he was phenomenal.
I remember someone describing Payet as like the ultimate sort of match of the day player. Like that's what he was. Like, it's just, you could box everything, and as you say, it's all the flashy players. But the stuff that he did, there was always like an end product with it, which was just couldn't beat.
That's a great way of describing him, the ultimate match of the day player. Because it's true, he's just a highlight reel himself, wasn't he? When they used that showboat thing on Soccer AM, it always used to be, it was like him. It was just like him, just like everything he did in one game. You know what I mean? He was absolutely a phenomenal player. Right. Okay.
Yeah. Well, he missed like Christmas, didn't he?
He did. Yeah.
He had that horrible injury against Everton with that James McCarthy. I always remember that tackle. Which put him out for like a month or so. So even the effects that he's had and the amount of assists and goals he did, he missed like the busiest period. But
and he was. Exactly, but it's one of those what could have been. If we had him the whole season, we may have got Champions League. He's quite possibly the way we were playing that season. Because then obviously it takes him time to get back into it again. Although I remember when he came on, I think it was Liverpool or something like he came on for as a sub, and he did one of those Rabona or those twizzle things, pirouettes straight away. It's like I'm back. It's like I
remember the atmosphere then. It just lifts that 5% more with him just even walking on the pitch. I remember him taking his ear. I thought, this is ready to go.
Means business is business. It's like the other day. Did you see the match of the day too? They did it with Diop. He had his ring on. He played with Hugo. Oh, Bess and Hugo dropped it and he couldn't find it, and they're like him and Dougie were trying it on the ground. I was pissing myself. It was so funny. It was absolutely hilarious. But yeah, but I know you remember with Dimmy, that sort of diamond earrings, isn't he? Those sort of stud earrings. But right, okay, I'll put him in. Let's go for right wing. Let's go the other wing. Who are we going on the right hand side then?
Yeah, so I think this midfield would be quite narrow. It's won a lot of moving around, but yeah, for the right mid, I've gone with Joe Cole.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, he probably could have fitted in probably more centre. Couldn't leave him out. So yeah, Joe Cole. He's, as a kid when I was growing up, he was sort of a player that you saw what he did and you immediately go outside and try and replicate that.
Yeah.
Like whatever he was doing with his turns and whatnot. Yeah, it's just all that prep. Like I didn't appreciate at the time. Like when you look back on his career, like similar to like most England players now these days, like up and coming internationals, like similar to Rooney when he was growing up. It's just all the pressure was on him to perform every week. 17 years old, and although he did that documentary, didn't he, where he was going to sign for United and he didn't. Then he stayed at West Ham, and yeah, thank God he did, because yeah, we got 5 years of sort of that raw talent before he obviously then went on to Chelsea and did great things there. But Mourinho sort of stripped him back a bit and made him more sort of tactically aware, which obviously did well for his career. But yeah, that first 5 years, I think just having that raw talent was really good to see.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's when Joe was Joe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was a raw talent, and he was our Gazza, and
exactly,
and obviously nowadays he wouldn't have got a look in. He'd have been at the age of 12, would have been put into a left wing or a left forward. He'd be put in a position where when Joe was Joe, he was just a free roll and could just do his thing. And beautiful player when he was on it. And as you said, I think we probably got the most Joe Cole those 5 years. Then, as you said, then Mourinho, although he does rate Mourinho as his favourite coach, I think.
Yeah,
I can see why. But
yeah, just got him his trophies, didn't he? Basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Came back for that one season as well. Just a lot of last year. Obviously, he lost his mojo a bit, but yeah, it's still good to have him back. But you're right, he just embodied West Ham, didn't he? Like that was everyone was behind him.
Definitely. Okay, Mr. Cole is in. Right. Central midfield. Who's your first centre midfielder then, James?
Yep. So first one, I'm going to go for Nobes. It's got to be Mark Noble. I mean, people can say what they want about whether he's this or that, or he's not quite at that level. But I mean, no player that's played in the Premier League for as long as he does isn't half bad and one man and all that stuff. It's just a testament to him. And he'll go down as a West Ham legend. He might not be the one that lifted FA Cups or won any trophies other than a couple of playoffs and a couple of Betway Cups, whatever, one Betway Cup. But yeah, he's just incredible that he's lasted as long as he has, playing in central midfield, like the most demanding position, especially in the Premier League. And he's still going. I know he's sort of in and out, mostly out of the team now, and like coming on as a number 10. Moyes got him at the top of the diamond, which is, I mean, he's got the passing, but yeah, not sure if that was the right one. But I always remember when he first started out, and I remember his first sort of season, and he did look a bit lost. The shirt was a bit too big for him, but you could tell again. Same with Joe Cole. Really, it was his club. You could tell that it meant a bit more to him than others, and yeah, what he's given us just like so many great memories, like off the pitch as well. Like the way he carries himself is great. So yeah.
There's something about having a fan in your 11. I just think there is. It's like you don't have to worry about him putting a shift in. It's the other 10 you have to worry about, but not Mark. And but Mark's always been honest enough. So if he's not on it, if he's not his game, or he's not, there'll be we know it's going to be in the next 12 to 18 months. He's going to hang his boots up. He just is, isn't he? Because it's Mark Noble, and he just will do. And
that's a shame he never got an England cap. Like
it's awful, isn't it? When you think about it.
You think some of the players that did, and I remember he was right on the cusp of it, wasn't he? In that last season at Upton Park, like he probably could have got into that Euro squad, but just missed out.
It is a shame because but again, it's. I mean, Billy Bonds never played for England. Do you know what I mean? It's a West Ham thing. It always is. It always has, and it always will be, unfortunately. Yeah. Unless you're someone like Declan Rice, who is clearly the best defensive midfield player probably in the world at the moment in terms of a CDM role. I think I love Mark. I think he's a great player. He's a great servant for the club. As you said, he's always been around. He's a fan, and he's a genuine fan. He's not like a plastic fan. You can tell he loves the club, and I've all, I liken him to sort of Doctor Who. He seems to regenerate himself every couple of years into a different player, and I think he's great, absolutely brilliant. And right, okay, so put Nobes in, and who's Nobes going to partner in that central position then, James?
So I'm the nard on this one again, but I've decided to go Scott Parker. Forgetting that he went to Spurs, moving on from that, and just he had to be in my team. Just that 2 years, I think the last 2 years he was with us. Before he was just exceptional. Like, I know this, the way it goes with getting relegated that season, but then a player that gets relegated and still manages to get Football Writers Player of the Year must be something just incredible. Like, he's again, like speaking earlier about like him as a manager now, like you just sort of knew that he was going to be a manager. Just the way that he's just like a student of the game, isn't he? And he's you sort of hang off every word he says, like when he does his post match now. And that season that we did get relegated, but I think we would have been relegated 2, maybe 3 months before if it wasn't for him.
Definitely. And when you talk about players, and obviously one of the big frustrations for West Ham fans is when players don't seem to put a shift in. And, again, very similar to Mark Noble, when Scott Parker's name was on the team sheet, he was going to put a shift in. Again, you didn't have to worry about him. It's the other players you have to worry about, I used to see him coming out of, after the game, coming out of the player's entrance, so to speak, and almost be crawling, hobbling out, because he'd put so much into it. And I just thought he was a phenomenal player. Wasn't the captain as well, which is one of those things which Matty, weren't it? Matty Upson. But as you said, to win Player Writer of the Year in the season you've gone down, to win Ham of the Year 3 years in a row as well. Yeah. You're looking at the Bonzos and the Brookings and the Moores in terms of who did that. Exactly. He was brilliant. I just thought he was a fantastic player, and as you said, he carries himself so well as a manager. As you said, he just got that brain. In the same way that you can see Mark slotting into being a manager eventually. And who knows? Who knows what's going to happen down the line with Scott Parker? As long as he doesn't take us, doesn't keep Fulham up and we go down. I don't care. Good luck to him. Same as Slab. Good luck to him. But but he is very well turned out, and I like. He's a stylish man, And if he's given us anything, he's given us the Parker pirouette. Do you remember he used to stick his arse out?
Yeah.
Then Nobes does it, and then I think Deck does it as well. It's like being passed down the torch.
Right in the centre midfield.
Yeah, when they did that, here we go. Here comes Deck. Wait for Connor Coventry to do it soon. Okay, right. Scotty B is in. Up front, he's your first striker. Then James.
So I wrote down 4, and I've had to whittle them down to 2. I'll quickly mention the 2 that I've left out. So first one, Dean Ashton. I think if it wasn't for his injury, he'd definitely be in it. He was on the way to probably going on to a top 4 team if he sort of carried on the way he was playing when he first signed. Amazing player. I always remember his my first ever game I went to Old Trafford was when he scored that overhead kick. I think it lost 4-1, but it was just that overhead kick was what everyone was talking about, not Ronaldo or Rooney or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he doesn't make it, but just special mention for him. So I'll go for the first striker will be Tevez.
Carlitos.
Yeah, couldn't leave him out just because of that. Wasn't even 6 months, was it? Probably 3 or 4 months spell that sort of it did single-handedly keep us up, didn't it, that season? And it was just amazing to see that standard of player, like sim on the Payet level of just
exactly
give him the ball and see what he does, basically.
And he was brilliant. And yeah, you're right. He didn't turn up for the first. Well, he did, but he was just trying to. I think he was almost trying to justify being there. Do you know what I mean? It was like he was running all over the pitch like a madman. And it took someone, obviously, when he played, obviously, Pards never played him, did he, really? Obviously, favouring Hayden Mullins over Javier Mascherano, famously. But and it took someone like Curbs, almost like Moisey did with Arnie. So, stop running about. You stay up there. Just stay up there. We'll kick the ball to you. A bit like Antonio now. We kick the ball to you, and then you do it in that bit. And that was the making of him, absolutely making of him. And some great stories from the players about Carlitos and how he tried to, really make himself part of the team. And top guy. And he still loves the club.
Exactly.
And that's what we love. We love players who aren't from around these parts and are out of towners and become synonymous with the club. As you said, such a small time he was at the club. The impact he made was phenomenal.
As you're saying, he's still. I think he's done an interview in the last 12 months or so, hasn't he, where he said he'd come back to West Ham. So, I mean, probably Golden Sullivan probably thinking, we'll put bid in when he's 38 or something and he's on one leg. But
do a Teddy Sheringham,
It's funny to say that he nearly made my team as well, Sheringham. He was the other one that I was umming and ahhing about again, just especially the season in the Championship, so it's not quite as. But unbelievable! What a player!
What a player, and I think he was top goal scorer for us that season as well at 38.
Yeah, he carried on, didn't he, in the Premier League? Like when we got promoted, he still had another year or so there where he was. It wasn't even like obviously his goal scoring was his sort of food and drink, but just still to this day, not many strikers that are just that clever. Like he had this sort of Berbatov brain, didn't he? Like it was just everything around him is just. He's 5 seconds ahead of everyone else, basically. Yeah. He didn't have pace or anything, but you couldn't tell because he was.
Because he was never quick, was he? I mean, even 96, you were in 96. He wasn't quick. He was just in the right place at the right time and could read the game, and that's why he could play until almost 40. Really, it's just mental for the Premier League. But top right. So Carlitos is in. We've got one more spot.
Yeah. So probably a very obvious one, but the last one is Paolo Di Canio. Had to be again. I mean, there's lots of others that you could probably think of, but he couldn't be left out of the team. Just again, not a massive period at the club, but what an impact! Like as soon as you hear his name, you will just immediately think of the Dr. Martin shirt and collar up and all that jazz, and that's it. So many memories of what he did for us.
Yeah, it was fantastic, wasn't it? And it was like, and like we've said it before on the channel several times, lots of times, but it was like Payet. Payet was like the best technical player I've seen at West Ham. Yeah. But Di Canio was my favourite player. He wasn't, because he had the technical ability, but you were excited to watch what personality was coming out of him. That game was it? Was it
arguing with the manager or doing
exactly? That's what we love about him.
Obviously the Wimbledon goal was the best of the time, but his last game at Upton Park, the Chelsea game when he came on, and we all knew he was on his way. But I just remember being there with my dad and just like he came on and you knew what was going to happen just because it was him. You knew he was going to get the winner. You knew it was going to be it was just all written in the stars, basically. Yeah,
it was top. And again, a bit like Tevez, he even more so. He really got West Ham into his heart, really. And I really, and obviously, by doing this, by talking to people and sort of, who pick Paolo, and we talk about Paolo, I think one of the reasons why I think he became so, I don't know, he warmed to the West Ham fans more than other fans that he's played for in terms of clubs. I think because we saved him. I really think we saved him his career. I think he could have obviously pushed the ref over, and that was 12-match ban. No one was touching the barge pole. Harry took a punt, saw his, and then from being a good player for Sheffield Wednesday, my mate's a Wednesday fan, and he was a good player. It was him and Carbone. Do you remember Benito Carbone? They were good. A good duo.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were good together, but they weren't. You wouldn't have at that time put Di Canio in the same sort of I don't know, in the same category as a Dennis Bergkamp or a Zola or something like that. Yeah. Him at West Ham, those 4 or 5 years, he became a Premier League great. He became a legend in the Premier League, and that wouldn't have happened if we hadn't taken the chance of him. I think he realises that. Do you know what I mean? I think that's why he's really thankful about West Ham fans, and he had a song, a bit like Pyatt. When they have a song, there's something special about a player when they have their own song. Do you know what I mean? He would literally. We had a story. It's Mick Clifford. He was interviewing Paolo, and he was at Cheddar Reef, and I think the first team were at a cup game, and he wasn't picked, and so he was waiting for Paolo, and all he could hear was someone whistling the Paolo Di Canio song, just whistling for about 30-40 minutes, and then the doors opened like a cloud of steam. Paolo's there with his towel wrapped around his waist, one round, folded and wrapped around his shoulders. It was him singing his own song in the shower for 40 minutes. You know what I mean? And he was a top man, wasn't he? Just an entertainer. It was just fun to watch. And that's what I don't like about modern football now. I just think it's so boring from an entertainment perspective. You get impressed by seeing. I don't know, I was going to say Salah, but he dies. But like some fantastic footwork or something like that. But there's no personalities in the game. There's no Paolos, there's no John Moncurs, there's no. Let's be honest, John probably VAR. VAR, he wouldn't have done it, or Repka, or and I think that's a real shame because we like to be entertained, and football's a sport, and obviously the money's in it, but. It's something I think I'd love to see. And trouble is now, anyone with a bit of personality gets vilified, in my opinion. So, like Mr. Grealish, he's a cocky, arrogant sod.
Oh, no, brilliant player, isn't he? Yeah,
he's a fantastic player, but he gets vilified for it. You know what I mean? Because he's arrogant, and Christ, some of the players. I mean, look at Paolo. He would throw his arms out. He would like, I'm the best player. Take me off. It's just how different generations see their footballers, and but no, he was a proper guy. I love, big fan of Paolo. That's it, James. We've done it. We've done the 1 to 11. It's very, very good. Thank you so much for your time. We finally got this recording done. It's only taken about us 2 months to get it done, but we're both busy people. We're busy people, man. But thank you so much, James.
Thanks for having me.
Lovely. Yeah. Absolute pleasure. And obviously, James's Twitter handle, at Desert Iron Discs. Love it. Make sure James does loads of nice little polls, don't you? Like, what's your favourite? What does this shirt remind you of? And I love all that. And that's just like the channel. It's very good. Big fan of that. But thank you so much.
It's a little hobby born out of lockdown. So yeah,
it is, isn't it? It's same as this. This is just born out of lockdown. The same thing. It's like I just got bored. One day. Like I'd had enough of watching, reality TV, and with with Netflix and things like that. There's a lot of Australian, Married at First Sight and stuff like that, which I basically had a 90-Day Fiance and stuff like that. So that's why I started the channel. Although it's all Christmas movies now. It's all Christmas movies now, so yeah, she's what Hallmark or whatever. But anyway, thank you so much. Thanks everyone for watching. If you're watching YouTube, give it a like, give it a share, give it a subscribe. If you're listening to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Again, show it some love. And until next time, from myself and from James, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Come you irons, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. See you. Bye-bye.